And Burnley certainly won't be judging their season based on a result against Manchester City. What is interesting, though, is that top two in the Premier League. So Man City went second temporarily, but they've just showed their mentality. Once again, used the word mentality a couple of times to describe Liverpool. But Man City are no different. And it didn't faze them at all that they went second, because within 5 minutes they went top again.
No, but I think the top teams don't worry about anybody else. You know, they're so focused on their game. It's so fine-tuned from the manager, from the players. Everybody knows their role. Even when they lose, if they're unfortunate enough to lose, they don't really play poorly, Liverpool and Man City, anymore. You know, somebody makes a mistake, give away a penalty, a ref makes a bad decision, or somebody scores a worldie. You rarely ever see either of these two teams play poorly. And that's a real testament to the coaches and the players. Yeah, you got one eye on Liverpool, but I think they're more worried. They know if they play their game, their best game, they win the game, 95 times out of 100.
It's quite scary to think, though, the standard of football that both of these teams are playing. They're just pushing each other every single week to get better and better. It's been remarkable to watch.
It has. Just not this season as well, too, but the season that they were split by hair's breadth or something like this here. It's been terrific stuff. They've got really good players at their disposal, really good managers as well, too. And you've mentioned that there, Owen, about the mentality. But I honestly don't think that you can win big titles or leagues if you didn't have a strong mentality. You might be able to fluke a game or two or something that gets along the way, and you might actually be able to fluke into the semi-finals of some competition. You might be able to do that. But to have the mentality, to have that strength of character throughout, and they create. The two teams create. When they play 3 or 4 passes backwards, you feel as if they're playing it for a purpose. Whereas a lot of teams in the Premier League are playing the ball backwards because that's expected of them now to try and keep possession of the ball. But you feel as if Liverpool and Man City are playing, there's something behind what they're going to do. Man City can do you by, say, the little 1-2s around the penalty area, so they don't need the big centre forward. But Liverpool can do that, but Liverpool also overpower you as well. You feel as if they've got unbelievable strength of the team. Mane is one of my favourite players. I love him. I really do. I think he's a fantastic player, and he plays every single week. Every week. This is the point. So it's great. It's great to have it. It's really great for the Premier League to have two teams as outstanding as they are.
Yeah, absolutely well said. And from now until the end of the season, every single fan is watching their every single move to see where will either slip up. Will both teams win all their games to the end of the season? Well, of course, they play each other, and it starts next week. So that's going to be a huge, huge match, which determines what might happen.
I mean, it'd be great if we could have them play the final game of the season, wouldn't it? Because when you look at all the other fixtures, you'd think they probably, you'd think, I know on paper, and it never works out like this, Mark, but you'd think, they'll beat them. City will beat Brighton and Watford and Leeds and Newcastle, West Ham. But obviously that game coming up next week, that's huge.
You could nearly make that assumption if that's all they were playing for them, but they're also heavily involved in the Champions League, and that's the holy grail for them as well. Particularly Manchester City, who have not done it yet,
Yes.
And
they really want the Champions League, don't they?
They really do, absolutely. They really do.
And it's interesting when you look at Liverpool's run after City, they have Manchester United, which is always a difficult fixture because there's so much history between the two, and then the Merseyside derby. I know Everton aren't what they have been and they're struggling, but every team there has something to play for.
You're right, and obviously Liverpool have the harder fixtures, and especially the next 3, the next 4. After that, they have a relatively easy finish, but the title race will be decided for Liverpool probably in the next 4 games for them. I think for City, it's hard to see them dropping points really anywhere. I know Palace have sprung a surprise, but if they play normal City, they pretty much beat all those teams quite comfortably.
How do you think both managers now, from now until the end of the season, manage these players? Because it's so important.
Do you know what? I actually think managing them in what way? What way do you mean?
I mean, just in terms of making sure that they stay focused and that they are.
Do you know what? I think that's easy. If we were talking about a team that this was the first year that they were actually competing strongly with it, I could understand that totally. About, gosh, you've got to concentrate here. Don't please stay in tonight, don't go out. These boys have been doing it for year after year. So I think that's the easiest thing in the world for the manager of these particular teams I'm talking about to get them focused. Absolutely, and that's why they're brilliant players. That's one of the reasons that not only do they have the ability, but they also have the mentality. It's there for them. So you know what? Easy, absolutely easy. It's the injuries that would concern you. It's those particular things that might crop up. So, Owen mentioned it. Something will happen. That they might lose a game because you're not expected to lose the match because something happened. But it won't be because they have dropped incredibly below their own standards. They're there for a reason, and they've been there the year before, and they've been there the year before that. That's why I think the manager's job here. He's created this thing. The two managers have created this, but now it's flowing for them, and it's a matter of just keeping an eye on them. That's all. But
it'll be fascinating.